Hello and welcome to the brand new podcast here, The Gang Breaks Kayfabe. New, not really technically true. Did about 36, 37, 38 episodes of AEW, but we're back with a brand new format that starts next week. We went ahead and did an hour and a half long podcast about All In 2025, giving our thoughts, our raving lunatic takes, and technology failed us. We got the video, didn't get the audio. Not a lot you can do without the audio on a podcast, right? So, in an effort to have something to post today, we went ahead and all filmed our thoughts, and I just mashed them all together in one video, just to have something to post. But the true Gang Breaks Kayfabe podcast launches next Friday at 8 p.m. with a brand new episode.
Hello, it's Tim from the Gang Breaks Kayfabe podcast, or Vance, whatever you, either or, same guy. But we're going to start with the main card, and we're all going to give our individual thoughts and put it into a delicious kayfabe pie for everyone. So we had the Ops versus Powerhouse Hobbs and Samoa Joe and Shibata. We did record this together, and we messed up the audio. So that's why I'm sure Omega explained that at the beginning. So this was okay. I don't think there needs to be trio titles at all, really. It just, I think Cash or somebody mentioned having a tournament maybe every year, kind of like what they do with the Continental would be fine, but really there's not really need to have this. I think it should maybe be on Ring of Honor at best. And I give this, I don't have my original ratings anymore, so I'm making them off the top of my head of what I remember. And this was like 2.5 stars. It existed. It was fine. There was nothing wrong with it per se, but it was just kind of there. And then we have the big bad news for the whole show, and that's that Adam Cole is hurt again, and he hasn't looked good the last while we've seen him. Just seems beat up. He's had the broken foot, and then he's had concussion issues and all that kind of stuff. So he is out again. It seems to be concussion related. And I guess he was almost going to retire, and they kind of had to talk him out of, don't say that yet, just wait and see, which is what he did. So they changed the match to make it a fatal 4-way. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But the order I have this in might be slightly different. But anyway, the men's casino gauntlet battle royal thing. In my opinion, it's the best thing AEW's really created to add to wrestling. A lot of things they've tried hasn't really worked, but this one has done really great. I think so. I guess when we talked to the other guys, I was the only one that just thought, yeah, this is for sure MJF. It doesn't make sense for anybody else for me to win this. So we got MJF winning, which will be interesting. That means we could get MJF and Hangman coming up, which would be good. I don't think that they should took a chance on building someone right now, but just because they're finally getting momentum, and to take a risk is not really the time. And MJF is risk-free. He's over with everyone pretty much. He's one of the most popular guys on the roster. He can kind of do anything. So I think that was a smart call by them. And for a side note, I love Bandito. I even find it odd that I love Bandito, but he's great. I think everything he does is really solid. I think as far as like random luchadors they have, like Hologram and all those random, the Spaceman, whatever his name is, I'm not into any of that. But with Bandito, I think he has a style that translates better than a lot of luchadors, with lucha and some American style wrestling in it. I think that comes from him when he was Ring of Honor champion. He's worked in the United States quite a bit, more than people like Hologram and stuff. So I think that's really great. And then we get the Fatal 4-Way that was supposed to be a singles match between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. So they ended up putting Dustin Rhodes and Daniel Garcia, Kyle Fletcher, and Sammy Guevara in this four-way. So I think the idea they had was to have Dustin get a win in his home town, I don't know if it's town, but home state for sure, to try to wipe away some of the sad that Adam Cole's announcement had on everybody. And I don't think it really worked. These guys worked hard. I know, my opinion is that Dustin Rhodes gave this exact speech. Everyone else is going to do a bunch of crazy spots. We need to just tell a story and be a little different than what everything else is going to be on this card, is what it appeared to me. I thought it was fine. For what they had to work with, it was not bad. I will give it 2.5 stars for pretty good. I could even be talked into 2 3/4. I just feel bad for Adam Cole. Dude's super talented, but we'll see where that goes over the next while, and hopefully it's not a retirement type of thing for him. So next we have my favorite match of the whole show, one of the best tag matches I've seen in a long time. And in wrestling, a lot of times old guys will be like, you don't tell a story, you need to tell a story, quit doing all these high spots, quit doing all this. Well, in my opinion, if you can do both, if you can go out there and do athletic, crazy spots that are hard to pull off and tell a story, that is, in my opinion, the way to go for a professional wrestling match. And these guys did it. My favorite spot that I love more than anything in a tag match is when one guy's getting beat down and his partner gets in the way of the beatdown just to take the beating for him. I think it shows a lot of emotion to everybody. It shows that these guys are on the same page, especially when they were going to win. When Johnny Gargano did it with Tommaso Ciampa in NXT with the ladder, when he got hit in the face with the ladder and really hit in the face, he really took a shot, because if on Tommaso Ciampa, I think I'm glad I wasn't in that spot to take that shot. So they did this here. This match was incredible. Can't say enough good things about it. I like that when the Young Bucks are challenged, they really can still go. Because a lot of times we see them kind of, it's like a best of act. They do their stuff and then they're really trying to get over character, and they don't really go as hard as they used to go in the ring. I love their entrance with the boat. It was so corny that it was funny. It was obviously not cool. They weren't trying to be cool. So I like that. I thought it was really good. One of the best tag matches I've seen in a long time. Then we had the Women's Casino Gauntlet. And I think this match was actually maybe better than the men's. It was very good. I think the right person won with Athena. Athena should have been on AEW television a long time ago. She's kind of been in Ring of Honor where no one can see her. She's a great worker. I think the division needs her. So hopefully that will get better and better. And I give this 3 stars. I thought it was pretty good. The Hurt Syndicate versus Jet Speed versus Patriarchy. And this match was ridiculous. They had 2 spots where guys got backflipped over the top rope by a German, and the other was by a Doomsday Device onto people on the floor, which is a crazy spot to do one of those in a match, but to do 2 of those like that. Shelton Benjamin has found some kind of fountain of youth and de-aged himself 10 years. And it's funny when you think of him in the WWE, he was not the big powerhouse guy, but he looks like Brock Lesnar here. And it's because the wrestlers are smaller, but also he's in phenomenal shape again. Him and Bobby Lashley, I think, when they first went to AEW, I didn't think, oh, good, that'll help AEW. I thought this doesn't fit. But they've definitely made it fit. Kevin Knight is pretty good. I'd like to see more of him. But then mostly this was for the angle at the end, where they had Adam Copeland come out and save Christian Cage with that nailed 2x4 that was in Moxley's spine here a couple months ago. So we're obviously going to get Edge and Christian versus FTR is what it looks like, and probably like a warm-up with Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne. So that, I mean, we'll see. I don't know how much Edge, oh no, lawsuit, Adam Copeland or Cope still has left in the tank, but this would probably be the way to get the best of him, I think, is putting him in a tag with Christian. You get some of the nostalgia. He's only got to work half a match. I think Christian still can go, more so than Adam Copeland. So I think that could end up being good. We have Tony Storm versus Mercedes. Match my daughter was really looking forward to, as she's a big Mercedes fan. And I know a lot of people hate on Mercedes for promos and stuff, but I think she is one of the best women they have, maybe the best in-ring woman they have. It might be a hot take, but and then if she's not, then it's probably Tony Storm. Tony Storm's definitely a better character. I think that's what Mercedes gets a lot of flack for. But this match was really good. I was surprised that Tony Storm won. I actually expected Mercedes to win just for the belt collector idea. So I give this 3.5 stars. I thought it was really good. As far as the best women's match in AEW, it's not there for me, but it was fitting of this card, of their big card for the year. So then we get Kenny Omega versus Okada. So I like to look at this a lot of times through my daughter's eyes, who's not as jaded. Well, she is a little bit jaded because she's grown up around this business for forever. But we watched Kenny Omega and Okada, a lot of their matches from Japan before this, which is probably not the best idea to get what you want out of this. And this was not those. The match was good. There was nothing really wrong with it. I don't like the fact that from now on, everyone has to work Kenny Omega's stomach. And I get why they do, but it's going to lead to just the same stuff over and over again. And obviously these guys are not as athletic as they once were. They also are probably smarter about dropping each other on their heads, but that was kind of what made their thing special, is the athleticism and the sheer bumps they took. But this was a good match. Again, not their best. I give it a 3.5 stars. Still really good. They actually probably shouldn't have shown the video packages of how great their matches were before, but I guess you kind of have to. I just kind of painted them into a corner because it wasn't going to live up to that. And then we got the main event, which is a Texas death match between Jon Moxley and Hangman Adam Page. And this was one of the most brutal matches I've ever seen. The beginning, the fork shots, the unprotected fork shots to the head were crazy. Now, there's an art to using the fork and trying to keep it safer. They did not really follow that art. They didn't, it wasn't all out stabbing to the head, but it wasn't far off. I mean, as he stabbed, the camera angle was perfect. You could see the blood start to come out of the fork holes right as he hit Mox in the head. And for these guys to keep the crowd's attention and the crowd to be into it after 7.5 hours of wrestling is pretty impressive. I went to WrestleMania 35 with Jason, and I know how dead that crowd was. And the people were waiting for Becky Lynch that night, and they still were pretty dead until the very finish. And this, I felt like, kept the crowd the whole time. The bed of nails, or drill bits, I think Omega pointed out, everyone thought it was a bed of nails, but he was saying it's more of a bed of drill bits, and I agree. They weren't regular nails. I think they used that pretty much perfectly. I like the ending. Mox's facial expression on the ending sold the entire match. The fear of death and all that kind of, I mean, it really came through great. And I'm going to go with Cash's take on this, that I'm sure he'll give here in his part of the video. But the violence was at a next level. I think it was what they needed for this match. Very good match. I could see it turns off some people. Even my daughter watching it was like, ugh, sometimes, you know. But it's more for people who like that kind of thing, and AEW has the fans that enjoy death matches more so than other people. I love that the belt hasn't been seen in so long. At first I thought that angle was kind of dumb, but they kind of won me back when they opened the case and you get to see the belt for, you know, it's been almost a year or whatever that Mox has been champion, and it still had Daniel Bryan's plates on it, or Bryan Danielson's plates on it. So that was kind of cool. I like the all the good guys coming back to stop the Death Riders. You had Bryan Danielson came out during the plastic bag thing, which had happened to him. You had Darby and Joe and that kind of thing. But the issue was they were kind of randomly thrown in there. I wish they would have spaced them better, reasons for who came out when, that kind of thing a little better. But still a very good match, and I give this 4.15 stars. Thought about 4.25, thought about 4. I was like, you know what? Let's just go in between. So 4.15. As far as the show goes in general, I thought they did a great job. I'm sure they wish they had more people there. It was 25,000, which is good, and it was the highest gate that they've had in United States ever. So, I mean, that's got to be a success no matter how you look at it. $3 million gate, I think they said, or over $3 million gate. So that's pretty good. And of course, Tony Khan, the last few days after the pay-per-view, has been saying, the buy rate's been spectacular and blah, blah, blah. But that's what he always says. It's kind of his job to, push the company. Is great. Everything's great, best ever. So, well, with that, that's my takes on the All In 2025. And see you guys later.
Does your cat make too much noise? Did you invent kit mittens to get it under control? Well, this would be the best place to advertise. The Gang Breaks Kayfabe podcast is actively looking for new sponsors. If you're interested, shoot us an email at thegangbreakskayfabe@gmail.com. Reach a wider audience and support a bunch of idiots.
Hey, Jason here, give you my brief take on my brief part of All In Texas 2025 that I saw. I did not pick the show up until the last 3 matches, so I will skip the matches that I only really got to see clips of. The women's title match was very good. They definitely put everything in that they possibly could have thought of. I mean, everything they thought of, plus an extra 15 pile drivers. Because if you can't get up from a 4th one, maybe the 5th one's the trick. Match was very good. I'm interested to see where we're going with Athena winning the Battle Royal and getting her chance. And going from there, and what that means if the belt collector is going to start losing all of her belts, or if this will just be a quest for her to try and get that one back, however that might go. As a old school Japanese wrestling fan, I definitely was huge fan of the first 3 Omega Okada matches, and made sure that everyone I knew at the time was watching them based in how much I enjoyed them. Due to that fact, I did not think this match stood up to what the other ones were, that age and the been there, done that of them having so many fights wore on it. However, for what it was very good. Just as the comparison to their previous fights, I would prefer to watch the second one over watching that one again from the other night. With Kenny down, the question becomes who's next for Okada, I guess, along with what does this mean having the 2 belts that aren't unified but are unified, defending them on different shows, different times. What exactly that means is interesting, because they already have so many belts to not just go ahead and solidify it and say this is the Continental Enter belt due to copyright laws. We can't call it the other thing around to get the 2 belts together. So interested to see where that goes, and also what this means for Omega moving forward, if he's going to be on a later schedule due to legit health reasons or not. and what that means for the Don Callis family, and how Okada is moving forward with the Bucks, with them no longer being EVPs. Spoiler on a match I'm not reviewing. For the main event, it was violent. It was the end, hopefully, to the Death Rider storyline that no one could explain. Putting the belt inside the briefcase and then never really seeming to have a out on getting it back out. Very weird. Almost expected it not to be in the briefcase when Paige finally got it open at the end. But it's back and it looks exactly like it did before. No changes. The shoot forking was not expected. I definitely screamed for my kids to come out to watch, and they enjoyed the debacle and the violent pageantry, as it were. For that part, the run-ins got to be a bit much, and could have been handled maybe a different way, especially with Darby's video not really being able to be heard, and then him being lowered down like completely limp in the harness was weird. Dan O'Brien coming back is, again, going to be full-time. Is this just a one-off to finish a storyline with the people who put him out with the plastic bag, and he just can't handle seeing a plastic bag, so he has to run from wherever he's at to get involved? And if that's just the end of Death Riders for right this second, and then I guess we're just moving on to Swerve and Hangman, as far as we now have a mutual respect for each other, but we still need to do this and have the fight. So, interested to see what comes out of everything. The three matches I saw were all very good. But again, I've seen better out of at least Kenny and Okada previously. And then the violence level never took away, I don't think, from the story that was being told, as far as Moxley and Hangman goes. So interested to see where they're going with it the rest of the way, and if they're going to be able to keep momentum or if it's just going to drop back off again. But I guess we will find that out in the coming weeks and in the coming shows till we review those.
All right, now it's my turn for some thoughts on this show. Got my notes handy. There's going to be a lot of edits because I am terrible at staring directly into a camera. Something about it feels like it traps my soul. So there'll be a lot of edits here, but I'll get right on to it. See, there's going to be our first edit already. I already stuttered. Opening match on this show was a terrible choice, in my opinion. The crowd didn't seem like they cared too much. It was the Trios title match. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I do think they did Samoa Joe dirty at the end after they did that beatdown. They had to actually unhook the bottom rope to roll him out as if he's some gigantic fat dude. He probably could have fit under there anyways, but they really wanted to sell this. The match itself was fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I didn't have any issues with it. Just didn't feel like it needed to be on here. It could have been on the pre-show. I gave it 2 stars. It was second lowest match of the whole night for me. Served its purpose, though. Got Smojo out of there, Shibata out of there, Will Hobbs out of there, so they weren't involved in the main event. Gave some kayfabe reason to it. I knew once Smojo's team won, the Ops won, that they were going to put the belt on Hangman because they're just getting all the belts off him and they're keeping it. Had the Death Riders won here, kind of would have kept the story going and not made too much sense. And we're moving on because I was not a big fan of that one. To what should have been the real opener of the show, the Men's Casino Gauntlet. And I loved this match. Should have been the opener. The pop when they announced it was justification for that alone, honestly. Bandito was super over when he came out. MJF, Mark Briscoe, pretty much everybody was over except for Mystico. Kind of a little embarrassing, him having to beg the crowd to sing a song and nobody knew what the hell was going on there. It was kind of funny. I do love these gauntlet gimmicks. I think it's AEW's best original creation. They've been trying to find their version of the Royal Rumble for a long time. The whatever they called those battle royals where the deck of card suits where 4 dudes came out at once was not good. Just straight up ripping off the Royal Rumble was not good when they did the Royal Rampage, but I think they finally found their mojo. I actually enjoy this more than the Rumble because guys can clear out of the ring, guys can work, everybody can do their spots, get their shine, look good. There's a pinfall at the end, somebody wins. It's not just a bunch of throwing over the top and repeating the same spots over and over. It's a full-on match. I do like how they say the intervals are random. I do like how they have the participants are random. I think that's pretty good booking because now you're not backed to any corners. Like the Rumble's supposed to be 1-minute entrances, but when they want to do something special, it takes a lot longer than that. So I think it's good booking here to what they've come up with. I'm pretty happy with it. Roderick Strong's like the perfect dude for this match too. He comes out, he has such explosive fire with all his stuff, man. I do think the biggest downfall of this match was whatever the hell that was that came out to Juice Robinson's theme music, because that wasn't Juice Robinson. When you shave the beard off, you lose all your aura, buddy. When you shave the beard off, you lose all your aura, friend. I mean, the gear choice, the lack of beard, the aura is gone. I think you actually got a bill for aura owed from previous times. It was a bit of a letdown that the only surprise in this was Juice. I know the guns came back and everything, but I was actually expecting a few more high-level surprises, like maybe a Keith Lee or something. Solid, though, man. 3.5 is what I gave this one. And we're moving on to, unfortunately, the worst part of the show, and there's not much they could have done about this because it was awful having to watch Adam Cole come out there and just, in front of that many people with what was going through his head. I know what was going through his head. He was in a dark place, very emotional. Nobody wanted to see this. Crowd wasn't happy to see it. The locker room wasn't happy to see it, and I'm sure Adam Cole himself wasn't happy to see it. He is a super nice guy, too. So for that to happen to somebody that everybody universally loves that much, it's a real bummer. And then you send a cold four-way out where the crowd, the air's just been sucked out of the building. Tough spot here, tough spot. I noticed Dustin was limping pretty bad coming into this one. They did make him work the pre-show, which I thought was odd, him and Sammy. But we'll just get past this. I gave it 1.5 stars, but putting the belt on Dustin was one of their best decisions because it lifted that crowd back up. Everybody was happy to see him get another moment there, and it's well-deserved for a true legend in the business here. Moving on to the Bucks versus Swerve Spree, as I wrote down here. I don't know if that's the official name. I'll have to consult Google. Now, when we shot the original podcast here, this was quite the back and forth. Because I gave it a pretty high rating, but not as high as Vance, and he was shocked. And then we went into a little rant back and forth about, was this tag match better than the Revolution one where it was Young Bucks versus Kenny and Hangman? And I said, not a chance. This was a very good match with some fucking killer work. But that other one is the best tag match in the history of the business, in my opinion. The best tag match of that style, we'll put it that way. There's some 80s Southern style tags that are fucking killer too. But I loved that Revolution tag match. A note I had here too, the entrances. It's cool to do the little extra stuff sometimes, but I feel like it takes away from the pop, from the crowd being excited for somebody to come out, and it's kind of like they're sitting there waiting, they don't know what they're looking at, especially so for whatever the ninjas botching all their spots were for Ospreay. Now JoJo coming out and singing, that was pretty dope. I do like how they had the fireflies on the Tron back there. That was a classy touch. And when we did the original podcast, I had to explain the song she sang is actually the music that Swerve used on the Indies, so a nice little callback there. And I thought she did a really good job. This match was fucking good. I do think the the Founding Fathers gear that the Young Bucks came out in, I don't know if they intended it to happen like this, but it's kind of a shot at Cody with his Revolutionary War get-up. They kind of looked like the Dollar General version of that. I don't know if they recognized that and just went with it or what, but I got a good chuckle out of it. The spot that started with the Buckshot Lariat and went into all the different super kicks and the destroyers and ended with the Hidden Blade and the house call is one of the best executed spots in the history of the business, in my opinion. That is the shit I love. If the match was more of that sprinkled in, I think I would have gave it a high rating. this was a great match, but I think it needed a little bit better crowd engagement to raise it on up. I did give it 3.75 out of 5, high rating, but I think Vance had it at like 4.25, 4.5. Not quite there for me, but still really fucking good. Now we get to the women's casino gauntlet, which I thought was great. I thought this was better than the men's, and I think whoever the agent was should be known publicly and praised, because there were a lot of times that I'm like, wow, whoever put this one together was really, really, really using their head. I do funny little thing here. Megan Bain's entrance video is so goddamn close to the entrance video I made for Rocky Reynolds and Revenge. Just kind of made me laugh. Willow's pop here, incredible. Most of the women got really good pops here. I do think it was a little odd that Sky Blue out there with Julia Hart. Not so much the interference, I get that, but like she was unrecognizable in the look she's in now. So I was a little confused at first. I'm like, oh, it's Sky Blue. Okay, this is the deal. And I do wonder if Bane and Statlander are doing so many tag spots, so many powerhouse team things, is them getting ready to do tag titles for the women. Be a good team, put them on them, and just let them murk people. I think everybody would enjoy that. I did love the one pinfall attempt that the entire field broke up. It was like 13 people breaking up the pinfall. Thought that was really well done, as was the suplex on the floor. But the only real negative I have of this whole match is the 2 debuts that were in it were like such low level, not talked about people. I know they showed videos for both of them, but just I don't think they're recognized enough by the crowd to really get the feel of what they're going for there. Right winner, but still don't think those debuts are good. Definitely happy to see Athena finally get her flowers, though. I don't know why she's been shuffled down to Ring of Honor, because she is one of the best female performers in the entire world and has been the whole time. It's not like she went there to get better and now she's good enough for AEW. She always was good enough for AEW, so it was a little head scratching. But hope to see her win the title with the cash-in. Now we go on to the tag title match, and I'm going to gloss over this because I didn't really pay too much attention to this. When we shot the original podcast, Vance was explaining how much better it was than what I took it as, but I had it down as 2 stars. And it was fine. I didn't catch any of the really cool stuff, I guess, this was a long goddamn show. 8 hours or whatever it was. This was a long goddamn show. I had to feed my dog, let her out. This was the match I did it in. I did catch the post-match, and I thought, incredibly well done. I liked that they didn't have Copeland just instantly forgive Christian and go back with them. FTR versus Copeland and Christian at All Out is going to be a fucking banger. The women's title match up next, and that is what I had rated highest on the entire show. 4.0. These women fucking killed it. And I did like the touch on Mercedes Robes where she had all her previous opponents that she beat listed on there. Good little touch. The Luther spots here were great. Him putting her on the shoulders and her doing the little hair mirror off the apron. Luther's underrated in this role back when he was doing Nightmare Family. Didn't think he belonged in the company, but he's definitely earned his spot, at least in this role. Wouldn't want to see him working too many matches, but he fits this perfectly. The crowd was so into this, it really elevated it for me, too. It's funny how that works. The better the crowd is, the better the match is a lot of the times. The the lip-to-lip lip-lock tombstone spot was... Man, I never thought anybody would one-up the Mickie James vagina touch, but Tony Storm did it by quite a bit there. Just such good shit. I did not think Tony was going to win. I thought Mercedes was going to win, so it blew my mind when Tony went over. Especially with Athena winning the gauntlet, I thought, well, they're probably going to have the Ring of Honor title go to Mercedes to add to the collection. And they still might. They might just do it, Athena getting the world title in AEW and having 2 belts versus Mercedes 6 or 7 or whatever it is now. But man, I cannot say enough good things about this match. I fucking loved it. Another contentious one we get on to here because, again, Vance had this much higher rated, I believe. Everybody was shocked at the rating I gave it. But Jason and Cash kind of put it in good perspective when we shot the original one here. There were lots of callbacks to the original, but not done quite as well. I don't know if that was a good idea, but everyone that had those old ones in mind were expecting that level, And they're just two different performers now. Not everyone's going to be able to keep up that insane level of athleticism their whole career. But my big note on this is I am getting a little tired of every Omega match here having belly work on it. Yes, I get that makes sense. Diverticulitis, had the intestines removed. I get it from a storytelling perspective, but just from a watching the show all the time perspective, that gets a little old seeing the same story told in all of his matches now. The top rope dragon suplex Okada took, he straight up pussed out by trying to twist onto his belly, and he rocked himself because he landed face first. If he just would have taken a flat back or even flipped over to his stomach, if he can do that, he would have protected himself a lot better, but he fucked himself up on that. Here's another one where I did not get the finish. I thought for sure Kenny was going over. Maybe they're just keeping that title lineage and kept it on Okada because they really want to jack his reign super high up. I think he's definitely holding the title until at least the next Continental Classic. But I kind of think I'll take a little sidebar here to talk about the title situation at AEW, because what are you guys doing? There's so many belts. Ring of Honor titles, there's AEW titles, you're merging titles but keeping the titles that go with those titles. There's just too many fucking belts. They don't mean enough. What is a TNT champion? Okay, I get it when it was the only one. It was the secondary mid-card title, but now there was an international title, there's a continental title. Now you're merging international and continental. Is this going to stay merged, or is it going to be like when they did the Triple Crown that wasn't really a Triple Crown? Continental title, the Ring of Honor, and the, New Japan Strong. That lasted 3 months till New Japan wanted their belt back. So AEW stays on the losing end of title stuff. There's too many belts. We don't need a trios division. There doesn't need to be trios belts. You want to run trios matches? Cool. Trios matches are dope. I don't know why you're doing so many belts, though. But speaking of belts, we'll move on to the main event now, because it was for the big one, the world title. I had this one, the Omega Okada rating, because everybody's hanging on that, was 3.25, which kind of raised some eyebrows when we did the original podcast. But on to Mox versus Page here. Hangman coming out to his old music. Fucking nice touch. I also like, and I'm going to take another sidebar here, AEW production staff do not get enough credit, because there are nice little touches they put on the show, but I feel like because WWE is so slick, because they're so polished, a lot of it goes unnoticed. The cameraman focusing on the heel entrance for Hangman to come out of the babyface and turn over, I thought that was a hell of a touch. Use the babyface music, he comes out of the babyface tunnel, cameraman's all confused. There's no doubt in anyone's mind, he's full on a babyface and the number one face in the company right now. I did think, though, once they got into the meat of the match, they jumped right to it. I mean, Mox was bleeding, 12 seconds into the match? I mean, they wanted to get right to it, and I get it, but whew, no preamble here. The match, the work, the violence, loved it. Thought it was a fucking stellar match of this style. I did think the run-ins had a bunch of weird structures. Just the way it was laid out, I didn't kind of understand it. I get that they didn't want to be like the Bloodline and Cody match at the one WrestleMania where they had run-in, just a watershed of run-ins there. They wanted to be different and kind of spread them through the match a little deeper. I get that, but just a weird... And I mean, you get the crowd chanting for Darby, you get the crowd chanting for Bryan Danielson, and it kind of made Hangman look lesser than. I don't get why you have Bryan come out in the Blue Panther, Blue Demon mask, whatever it was. Other than I know he's a mark for the guy, but like him in the hoodie, him in a mask, just an odd decision. I don't get it. Darby's video playing, I understand it, but like he filmed it at the top of a mountain with wind whipping around, like the audio wasn't great. Him rappelling from the rafters though was fucking scary, dude. Pretty goddamn high, and the way they shot it where you saw him above the Tron and then disappear through the Tron, just insane, man. Everybody knew he was coming back though, so it was good to see him. I do like one touch, I'll give them credit, whoever laid this match out. None of the babyface run-ins touched Mox. They weren't trying to help Hangman win the title. They were just trying to even the score, even the playing field. And for a babyface, that's a really good touch there. My biggest pet peeve of this whole match, though, the commentary. So many things the commentary missed. My God, the bed of nails, not really a bed of nails. It's a bed of thick ass drill bits. Now, was that a conscious decision? Did the guys go to and be like, "Well, we know these are drill bits, but we think the home audience will think it's more violent if you say a bed of nails"? Maybe, but it was a goddamn bed of drill bits, which I think is like 30,000 times more violent. I don't know why you don't run with it. I do think Brian's reason for coming out being the plastic bag and stopping that from happening to anyone else was a little clever reason for him to get involved there. Swerve coming out, obviously, we all thought it was going to happen some way. We just had to watch to see how it unfolded. The Swerve and Hangman story has been so well told, and I'm glad to see it completely went full circle to where Hangman finally buried the hatchet with Swerve, and Swerve actually came out there to say that from his perspective, the hatchet's buried too. Here's my chain, use it. I thought they should have went right to the finish. Wrapped the chain around his arm, buckshot lariat with the chain onto the bed of drill bits. Boom, that would have been a great finish. I get why they did the hanging with the chain. I know they did that in the first Texas Death Match, and probably thought it'd be a good callback there. Two things they missed, though, because they really wanted to get those side plate talking points over. And I get it, once you open the case and the side plate still have Danielson's on there, I get why they're explaining it. But they missed the most important part. Hangman celebrating from the stage, pyro going off, holding AEW's world title above his head at the biggest show of the year. And there's Swerve standing on the stage just watching it all, soaking it all in, and actually started clapping for Hangman. And I thought that was a huge storytelling plot point that they just did not even mention once. I had this match at 3.75. Overall, I thought All In was a great show. It was just a bit too long and had a bit too much fat. But if what they're saying is true, and TK wanted it to go long enough to eat into Saturday night's main event, I get it. I mean, you don't have to give every match as long as he did, but you do if you want it to go that long. Overall, really good show. The right guys won and right women won in a lot of the instances. Good show. I don't got much more than that. We'll see who's up next on this thing. We'll probably close it out with Cole Cash here. You guys missed a good podcast, though. I wish we had the technology working because there was some good banter there. Lots of different riffs and gags, but there'll be more of that coming up on the next few episodes, so keep tuning in. We're no longer just going to be reviewing AEW shows. We're going to pick a new topic each week. Sometimes that's going to be an old show we're going to go back and review. Sometimes it's going to be a new show we're going to review. Sometimes it's just going to be us bullshitting about favorite experiences or favorite matches or whatever. I think that'll be a lot more entertaining to listen to than just us talking about the 6 matches that happen on Dynamite every single week, 52 weeks a year. But you guys tell us, shoot us messages, comment below, like the video if you like what you saw, and then hopefully we'll see you next week for the real debut of the Gang Breaks Kayfabe.
Hey, this is Cash from the Gang Breaks Kayfabe here with my All In Texas All In 2025 review. As I'm sure you will see through the other videos, we had a little bit of technical difficulties, so we're doing it this way with all 4 of us separately reviewing. So here is my review of the show. I'm skipping the pre-show, going straight to the main card, and I have not seen everything in full. I have watched most of the matches through clips and highlight videos and all of that. So I think I've mostly seen everything, just not in a full continuous show. So first match up, we got the Ops, Shibata, Hobbs, and Samoa Joe putting their trios, AEW World Trios Championships on the line against the Death Riders, made up of Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta and Gabe Kidd, the newest member of the Death Riders, it seems. Going into this match, the Ops have been a thorn in the Death Riders' side, helping out Hangman Adam Page to fight off Moxley and his gang. So here we go. The Ops defeat the Death Riders. Shibata, Hobbs, and Joe retain the titles. However, afterwards, the Death Riders aren't finished. They jump Joe. They jump the Ops, but they definitely jump Joe, put him on the shelf with a chair around the neck and a stomp from Claudio. And Joe can go promote Twisted Metal 2. I'll have some more about the post-match stuff here in the main event. Odd choice for an opening match, I do believe. Not exactly a match that's going to set the world on fire. If Pac had been able to be in this match instead of Gabe Kidd, might have been a little bit more exciting and flashy, but as it was, I enjoyed it for what it was. I enjoyed Wheeler Yuta, definitely being the young boy of the match, and Joe and Shibata both taking turns, giving him a back chop, got me. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess the right team won here with what eventually, we don't know where the Death Riders story is going here, but with Joe being out, I'm assuming, who knows who will take his spot as the third. Who was it on? I feel like Briscoe, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, so we'll get back to the post-match stuff on this later. Next up was the men's casino gauntlet match for a future AEW World Championship match. We had Mark Briscoe and MJF starting this thing off. Really the only two who have been involved in the story leading up to this match. I guess Mystico has been a little bit, but that's really about it as far as the story going into this match. It's been Briscoe and MJF, and they start us off. So then we get Ricochet, Bandito, Takeshita, Mystico, Josh Alexander, Anthony Bowens, Roderick Strong, Brody King, Juice Robinson in the worst gear and no beard. Creepiest thing I've ever seen. He had like the old school Undertaker gear, kind of. It was weird. I saw a video of his return on TikTok as it happened, and I had no idea who it was running out to the ring and why everyone was so excited. And then I realized it was Juice Robinson, and he haunted my nightmares. He's been haunting my nightmares all since I saw that. So, but then we got Ibushi, who I'm glad to see is back and looking a lot more like the old Ibushi. The Beast Mortos, and to round it out, Max Caster, who they may or may not ever do anything with again. I don't know. But MJF wins this one, and he will now have a shot at the AEW World Championship whenever he feels like it. This should have been the opener, in my opinion. This or the women's Gauntlet Battle Royal. They're just more exciting matches for an opener to get the crowd going. But they went with the trios tag instead, which, I mean, for a very long show like this, I think you should have started it off with a big, fun match to watch. And that the Gauntlet match definitely looked fun. Lots of spots, lots of guys going through their sequences when they get in. A lot of really good workers in there. MJF won by pinning Roderick Strong. Up next, we get what should have been Adam Cole, baby, defending the TNT Championship against the proto-star Kyle Fletcher. However, unfortunately, at the beginning, before the match could start, Adam Cole came out, said that he is dealing with some health issues, which seems like they are concussion related, and he would have to vacate the TNT title, and he does not know if he'll be able to return, but he doesn't want to talk retirement yet. Really unfortunate, not only because Adam Cole could, never wrestle again, but also unfortunate because I feel like this match, him versus Fletcher, they had done a lot of work to build it up. I was really looking forward to this one. I thought it would have been really good, but after the announcement from Adam Cole, I think they already showed that this match was going to happen instead, but I'm not sure. But we get, instead of Adam Cole versus Kyle Fletcher, we get a four-way match for the now vacant AEW TNT Championship match with Dustin Rhodes, the Natural, the Texas-born Dustin Rhodes, defeating Daniel Garcia, Kyle Fletcher and Sammy Guevara, another Texas boy, by pinfall. He pinned Danny Garcia, I think. Decent match. I mean, after they announced from Adam Cole, the mood was, pretty down there. So this, I thought, was this was the best thing they could have done, honestly, is to have Dustin win it, him or Sammy. Definitely the best decision they could have done in Texas after that announcement, to get the crowd back into a little bit. I will be surprised if Dustin Rhodes makes more than one, or defends the title with victories more than twice. I'd say he might get one win with the title and then drop it to Fletcher at some point soon. Decent match, though. I mean, it is what it is. You do the best you can when you have to change the show like that due to unforeseen circumstances. I think giving the belt to Dustin Rhodes in Texas was the best possible call here. I have to believe Fletcher was booked to beat Adam Cole and get the title the way the story was going, but who knows. Up next, the tag team match. Swerve and Will Ospreay against the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. If the Young Bucks lose, they are stripped of their EVP title. And if Ospreay and Strickland lose, they will not be able to challenge for the AEW World Championship for 1 year. Pretty interesting story going into this one, where Ospreay kind of just threw this out there to get the Young Bucks into the match, and Swerve was not completely on board, but could the two guys that aren't a normal tag team, could they get on the same page to beat who a lot of people consider maybe the greatest tag team in the business, the Young Bucks? So Swerve and Ospreay win, so the Young Bucks are no longer the EVPs, which we saw play out a little bit on Dynamite, where they have they no longer have a personal assistants carrying the luggage boys, pulling their luggage around for them. They don't have the pristine dressing room, locker rooms. They're Titantron or AEW Tron or whatever you want to call it. Comic Sans, I believe, is the font used for them now, which is hilarious, a great touch. And they can't do the EVP trigger. They got to come up with a new name for that. So this match itself at All In, pretty awesome looking. I mean, from what I saw, I didn't see the full thing, but I've seen enough of it. I think I've seen the whole match without just little stuff in between. But some really, really innovative stuff here from all four of these guys, but especially the Bucks. I have no idea. I can't imagine me at this stage being able to put together a match with the Young Bucks and remembering everything. They're so creative, and then you throw Swerve and Will Ospreay in there and the things they can do. Really, really liked this match from what I saw, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with the VP thing being taken from the Bucks, where it goes. I'm assuming eventually a Bucks face turn. I feel like it was only so long they could keep dragging out the Bucks VP thing, because they never really did much with it. I mean, they had power, but they only kind of used it here and there, and it wasn't like a big, huge, prevalent storyline. Like, they didn't, whatever. So I think it was the best choice to make here. I don't see really how the Young Bucks having to lose their executive vice president titles was quite on par with Ospreay and Strickland not being able to challenge for a belt for 1 year. I would say it should have been Ospreay and Strickland could never challenge for the AEW World Championship if they lost. But, whatever. The match was great. A lot of innovative stuff here. Really, really good work with Swerve coming in to protect Hangman from the super kicks. A lot of the sequences they were doing were just incredible. The timing, the fluidity with which they did them was so good. Really, really good match. Ospreay and Strickland are maybe my two favorite guys in the world to watch right now. And the Bucks always bring it when it comes to a big show. Next up, we have the Women's Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal for a future AEW Women's World Championship. This one started out with Chris Statlander and Megan Bayne, followed by Willow Nightingale, Tay Mello, Tekla, Julia Hart, Queen Aminata, Mina Shirakawa, Athena, Thunder Rosa, Suri, and Alex Windsor. The debuting, I think two of these women debuted here. I think Surrey and Alex Windsor, these were their AEW debuts. Not exactly sure about Surrey. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is Alex Windsor's. Good match. Athena won by pinning Mina Shirakawa. Athena's, of course, the ROH Women's Champion. So now she has a shot at the AEW Women's World Championship, and presumably Toni Storm. Should be a great match. Athena's amazing. I think, as much as I would have liked to have seen her on TV this whole time, I think having her in Ring of Honor, really developing who she is and just getting better and better. She's going to be, in AEW, she's going to be such a huge star. She already is, but it's just going to go even further. Definitely, I think the right call there. My girlfriend would have definitely wanted to see either Queen Aminata or Willow win. I would have loved to have seen Willow win this thing. Willow's probably my favorite wrestler in the women's side of things. But Athena's a great choice. Very, very talented. I'm glad we're going to see more of that. Up next, now we have the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. It's a three-way tag match with the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton, with both MJF and MVP. They defeated the team of Jet Speed, Kevin Knight, and Speedball Mike Bailey, and the Patriarchy, Christian Cage and his son, Nick Wayne, who were accompanied by Kip Sabian and Mother Wayne. Hurt Syndicate win this. This is one of the matches that I've seen a lot of people online say went way too long. It had a match time of 18 minutes, 40 seconds. Probably could have been about 8 minutes and we would have been just fine. But it went 18 minutes, 40 seconds. Kevin Knight always stands out to me in every match that he's in. I think he's amazing. I don't think there was ever any doubt of who was winning this match. After the match, though, the Patriarchy, Nick Wayne, Kip Sabian, and Mother Wayne turn on Christian Cage. They've had enough of his parental guidance, I guess. And they put the beat down on him. And as they're about to hit him with the concerto, we get the return of Edge. And I get to do a mini rant real quick. We keep seeing this in WWE, AEW, I'm sure TNA and everywhere else. I get when a guy returns, or a girl, whatever, that you want the big, you want that moment, that big pop, let the crowd let the crowd enjoy it. But we have got to quit having guys return for saves and then just stand up on the entranceway and do their whole song and dance up there while the heels have to stand there looking stupid and not doing anything to the person they were about to do something to. Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian could have easily still just smashed Christian's head in with the chair on the concerto, probably 3 or 4 times before Edge ever made it down there. We just saw this recently with Penta coming out to make a save and deciding to do his little dance on the stage for a while, where he could have definitely made the save a lot earlier. Then we get Timeless Toni Storm with Luther defeating Mercedes Moné for the AEW Women's World Championship. Timeless Toni Storm, champion, coming into the match, successfully defends it here against Mercedes Moné. And this match was very, 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 very good. Love the finish with all of the power drivers. Love that they put Toni Storm over here. I think this sets up Mercedes. I think a face turn is coming before too long. I think the fans are ready to cheer her on at this point after a little bit of a rocky start to her AEW run, but I think it's time for a face turn from her while Toni Storm deals with Athena and other challengers for the time being. Really good match, though. One of the best women's matches I've seen in wrestling in a long time. One of the best wrestling matches I've seen. Probably the best match on this show as far as just wrestling goes. Swerve and Ospreay versus the Young Bucks might be up there, but Storm and Moné were more, it was a more solid match, I thought. Just a more basic, your championship match. Up next it's a winner-takes-all match to unify the AEW Continental Championship and the AEW International Championship into the inaugural AEW Unified Championship, because calling it the Intercontinental Championship would cause some issues there. But we get Kazuchika Okada, who is the Continental Champion with Don Callis, taking on the International Champion Kenny Omega, who is accompanied by Kota Ibushi, and Okada picks up the win. Of course, everyone knows the storied history of these two guys. With Okada winning, we're even now, I believe, with their record. So I'm sure we're going to get a final at some point in the next year or so. We're going to get the final blow-off match for their feud against each other. Okada winning just for that reason, I think, was the right call. I still have no idea why they're doing this with the belts, and why they're saying that this title is basically just a just as up there in prestige as the AEW World Championship. So now there's two, I guess, World Championships of like main AEW titles. If you're not going to do a brand split, this is going to be just massively confusing. There's already too many belts. But you can tell both of these guys aren't quite what they used to be. Omega, every match now is just you work the belly. You just work his belly. That's what Okada did. Good match, though. Exactly. They played the hits, so that's what everybody wanted. Finally, the main event, Hangman Adam Page versus the AEW World Champion Jon Moxley in a Texas death match. And it was, as advertised, it was a hell of a Texas death match. Knew both of these guys would go all out for All In. Hangman Page picks up the win, though, beats Jon Moxley, becomes the new AEW World Champion, takes the belt out of the briefcase that has been hidden in for so long now, and Page beat Moxley by hanging him over the top rope with the chain that Swerve gave him, that Swerve had used previously against Hangman Adam Page. What a great touch. The Death Rider storyline and Jon Moxley as the champion, I have a lot of issues with it, and I don't think it's been that great. But this was a not a perfect, but a very near perfect send-off to that storyline and that championship run. And I think Adam Page, now that it's happened, was the best guy for them to go with here. The finish was incredibly good. Not only was a little touch of, Swerve being the one to give Page the chain, but the way Moxley sold the panic when he was hung. And I think it was a great little storyline thing where Moxley has been going on and on this entire run about how, he's willing to die and nobody else is willing to die for this, and like nobody else is on his level because of their, fear of death. And then when Moxley was truly faced with death, when he truly thought he may be hanging there and his life may be draining out of his eyes, Moxley, the panic was there, and Moxley realized he's not one to die for this. Great storyline. Kind of odd to see on Dynamite following this up that both Moxley and Page were in the 6-man tag main event. Don't know if I would have done that. I don't think I would have had these two guys wrestle already. I think Page coming out with the promo was great. I don't know if after what they went through, they should have both been in this match. I think Moxley would have worked a little bit better if Moxley is just kind of, he kind of was doing this, but he just, clearly this shook him. This is going to, I think, change a lot about the Moxley character in some ways, which is going to be interesting, I think. All in all, this show seemed, just from what I could watch, a great show. Looking forward to seeing where this goes. The thing I was going to talk about with, so going back to Joe being attacked after the Ops match, what I didn't like, what I thought was going to happen when I saw what happened with Joe and how he got taken out after the match, I kind of thought throughout the show the Death Riders were going to systematically be taking out everybody that could potentially help Hangman. So, who do you got in the after the Swerve and Ospreay match? I thought maybe we were going to see Swerve and Ospreay get the beat down. Kind of thought Willow Nightingale in the women's gauntlet. Thought Marina Shafir might come out and take her out. But we don't even see Willow come back out for the main event to take out Marina, which she's been involved in this storyline for months now, and they just kind of left her in the back, forgot about her. But you did have Bryan Danielson come back, and you did have Darby come back, plus Ospreay and Swerve got involved. But yeah, I do think they kind of dropped the ball because they also just randomly throughout Paige and Moxley's match had Claudio and Wheeler and Marina and all of them get involved because it was no DQ, of course. But it didn't make any sense why they wouldn't just start the match with them beating the shit out of Hangman Page. And if you want to avoid having to, have that, if you want to take that issue off the table and have a better kayfabe explanation for what's happening, you could have, instead of having, if they're not going to take out everyone before the match, then as the Death Riders are coming out, you should have had Swerve, Ospreay, Hobbs, whoever, Willow, all come out and just take out the rest of the Death Riders, fight them to the back, make Page and Moxley be in a one-on-one match to start things off, and then towards the finish, you start having, Claudio or Wheeler, or Gabe Kidd, whoever, slip back out, and then you kind of do your run-ins, and you still have all the same stuff you had. But instead of just having those guys stand around out ringside and decide at random points to beat up Hangman because they could, you just eliminate that as the possibility, and I think it just makes the story work better. But, still a great show, great match. Some of the stuff they did was brutal, looked really good. So I love that they are able to put on death matches on a huge promotion like this on their shows and feature them in ways that make sense for the most part, usually. And this was the perfect stipulation to have for this match between Page and Moxley. So, with all that said, good show. I hope you'll join us for future episodes. We'll all be doing these together, hopefully this time. I think we got a lot of the technical difficulties out of the way here. So, thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. And, let us know what shows you want us to review or wrestling topics you want us to discuss. So, until next time, thank you guys, and enjoy everybody else's videos. All right, bye.